introduce the students to Iggy and raise awareness of his extremities, as well as an art competition on what Iyanola means to them. Stakeholder meeting, which is specific to the tourism industry, where taxi drivers, car rentals, tour guides attend a sensitization workshop on Iyanola. And of course, the Iyanola Crossing renaming ceremony. Without further ado, let us now start our program by welcoming the CEO of the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund to deliver his opening remarks. Please welcome Mr. Craig Henry.
My apologies. Not taking so long. Thank you, Alan Regis. Good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. I do appreciate this event and to say that I am quite elated to be here with you, especially celebrating with Infinity, the group led by Alan Regis, McLeod Smith, and of course, some of the very visionary members of that group, members of the Denry Committee, of course. I recognize partner agencies, the Forestry Department, Sustainable Development, even the schools, the teachers, very important sector as well. And I have a little bit of a bias in terms of this project and its outcomes because I'm a very huge fan of wildlife, of the environment, and of conservation. And I do recognize as well that we always have to strike a balance between what we do in terms of how we conserve our biodiversity, but as well respecting that we live in all these species. And because populations grow, therefore human activity extends to areas that normally wildlife would inhabit. And so the rationale in terms of trying to address the threat that our endemic species located along this area, this ecosystem or this beautiful space, natural, so important for historical context as well, to mitigate the threat caused by heavy traffic and the danger to these species when they're trying to move around in what they consider to be their natural homes and spaces. All right. So I know this was a long in coming. I will let you know a big secret. I was a major fan of this initiative for a while and had particularly invested in ensuring that its success. I am glad that the designation, which is very important as well, is going to come through, and it is actually being marked by this important ceremony, and to see the attendance here of various folks from agencies and even from the Denry community. Let me thank the Tourism Enhancement Fund for the SLHTA for their support. I know they would have wanted to be here to share in this milestone of a ceremony and give more kudos as well to the group for that vision and for their tenacity in ensuring that we got through with the designation. I thank you once again. Good work, both Regis and McLeod. To you and your team for such an accomplishment. We hope that the good work will continue. And we hope as well that it's not just about the designation, but we actually do see a difference. There's some impact with regards to how we can safeguard the biodiversity, all the plants and animals in this natural environment, this wonderful space. So let us continue with the partnership. Let us continue with the good work, the vision. And I must say that you as well, that you have the support of the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund. the board and secretariat at that, and all our contributors. So best of luck and congratulations once again.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. And now we will hear from the president of Infinity to give an overview of the group and project. Please welcome Mr. McLeod Smith.
Good day, everyone. Permit me to adopt the protocol which has already been established. It is my privilege to welcome everyone seated here this afternoon to the Iyanola Crossing renaming ceremony. St. Lucia is an island which has been blessed with many unique species of animals and plants. Our fascinating biodiversity plays a major role in the scenic beauty of this island which St. Lucians call home. We have truly been blessed to live alongside some unique wildlife, such as the St. Lucian iguana, which is scientifically known as the iguana, and the boa constrictor. However, today I want to focus on our St. Lucian iguana, which has been the main focus of the Iyanola. Iguana is the largest native terrestrial animal in St. Lucia, and is mostly found in the dry coastal woodlands of the northeast coast near streams which stretch from Grand Anse to Fodor and Louvet. Over the past few years, this species has had its population levels disseminated due to loss of habitat, predation, and invasive alien species, hunting, and also, Over the past few years, this species has had its population levels decimated due to the loss of habitat, predation by an invasive alien species, and hunting. In addition, we also have the Castries to Vifford Highway, which runs through the prime habitat of this unique creature. As a result, there have been many cases of iguanas becoming roadkill on a regular basis. Infinity, a community-based organization made up of young individuals from both Dennery and Valley, have been dedicated to making positive contributions to the development of the youth and the promotion of love for the natural environment. Since being made aware of the dangerous population levels and threats which look over this endemic creature, we understood the urgency to undertake a project of this nature. We felt it was our responsibility to educate and bring a greater awareness to our community members and St. Lucia on the importance of conserving our local iguana. In order to be impactful, we set out to achieve the following objectives. One, to raise awareness of the hazards to wildlife which cross the Dennery to Vifford Highway through the installation of billboards along the highway. To retitle La Pointe Lebai, which is where we are right now, to retitle La Pointe Lebai to Iyanola Crossing, so as to build awareness of the iguana to visitors of the site, highway users, and passers-by. To engage primary and secondary school students in an educational awareness campaign which involves school visits in the Dennery and Valley area with an iguana mascot and Dennery segment artist. To conduct a school art competition among students of Clennon Mason and Grand Riviere Secondary School, which focus on the theme, "What does Iyanola mean to you?" And lastly, to involve key groups such as taxi drivers, traffic department, farmers on the importance of wildlife conservation so as to build a stronger support for the Iyanola project. In addition to accomplishing these key objectives, I must acknowledge the Tourism Enhancement Fund and the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund. On behalf of all of us at Infinity, we would like to say thank you for providing us with this opportunity to implement this project. Without you, this initiative would not have been possible. I would also like to thank Forestry and Mr. Michael Bob for their invaluable contributions to this project. This has indeed been a learning experience for all of us. Our interactions with the students, teachers, and principals has been by far my favorite experience. Seeing the delight on the faces of the youth as they learned about our various wildlife has left us with a great sense of certainty that our future generation will not repeat the same mistakes that we have made in the past. With our goals being accomplished and our communities, schools, and stakeholders gaining a deeper understanding of not only what role our wildlife plays in our ecosystem, but also understanding the role we play in it, I am certain that we'll see more positives associated with our local species. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And now please welcome the Chief Technical Advisor for the Iyanola project, Mr. Michael Bob.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I do adopt the protocol already set. It's my pleasure to accept this invitation to be part of this program organized by Infinity. And I always feel warm welcome by Mr. Regis and Infinity to the most beautiful part on the East Coast, where we see the sun first, but the sun sets in Soufrière, which is the most beautiful part of St. Lucia. So thank you very much, Mr. Regis and Infinity, for being here. I, indeed, as part of the Northeast Coast project, talking about the conservation of fauna and flora, and as we have celebrated in the past couple of days, World Biodiversity Day, we saw World Bee Day, and we just witnessed and celebrated World Turtle Day. And that is all the species on this island, which means so much to us. But why the Iyanola crossing came into being? And we realized straight away that it's because of the pressure put on Iyanola in terms of the natural habitat that we realize that one of the key areas or the key factors of the destruction of Iyanola, our beautiful iguana, is roadkills. Now, you would realize standing here and sitting here, we hear how quickly the vehicles pass on this road. Now, obviously, this is like our M1. This is our superhighway. My recommendation in terms of how we can protect and to reduce on the road kills is twofold: education, and two, creating a physical space in reducing the speed. I heard Mr. McLeod talking about working with taxi drivers, working with the police in terms of the traffic department, in seeing how best we can reduce these road kills. And one of the recommendations that I have, as it talks about the road, if we can create another sign, because it's beautiful to have the sign Iyanola Crossing, but at least a mile to the north and to the south of the areas where we do have most of these iguanas crossing, if we could have another sign saying reduce speed. So it'd be gradual, because if you're driving at 80 miles per hour and you have an iguana dashing across the road, for sure that iguana is going to die. If you tap brakes, you could have an accident where the vehicle is coming behind you at the same speed. So my recommendation is between the forestry department, Infinity, and the traffic department to try to identify the areas most seen where these iguanas cross the road, and so we can have something like a zone in terms of reducing the speed, just like you have speed bumps. So I'm not recommending speed bumps, but we could have signage showing reduced speed, and then people would be aware of this. And then again, the education is very important. One other thing too, we only don't have drivers around Dennery or Castries or Viewfort. We have persons from the other side of the island, the west coast, the south, that traverses this road. So the education has to be for them also. So I would encourage, and I'm sure the Northeast Coast Project, when I do speak to other team members, is trying to produce flyers, some type of education material that could go out to the taxi drivers, the minibus drivers, everybody, because the sign is fine, but the education is there. We need to change our mindset. We need to change our behavior, and we need to coexist with wildlife. That's what it is. So as much as we want to say Iyanola and all the nice fancy educational material, but we as a people need to change our mindset so we can coexist with our wildlife. So with these few words, I just want to say thank you for the invite, and to make sure that we work together with Infinity as the Northeast Coast Project, also the Southeast Coast Project, in making this a reality, not just today, but for years to come. And so we can see the population increase and road kills decrease. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bob. We now ask the audience to direct your attention to your right to the billboard for the cutting of the ribbon, which will be done by Mr. Craig Henry and Latifa of the Grand Riviere Secondary School.
And they should review the thing one time, right?
Okay. Mr. Herman?
Yes.
Thank you. And now we'll have Mr. Michael Landers, the chairperson of the Dennery South Constituency Council.
Good afternoon, everyone. I stand by the protocol that has already been established. Minister and Parliamentary Rep for Dennery South, the Honorable Alfred Prosper, sends his apology for not being in attendance. But today I join with the entire Dennery community in celebrating and acknowledging the renaming of Lapwet Libai. It is indeed a privilege to be part of this renaming ceremony of Lapwet Libai to Iyanola Crossing, and I think this is an excellent choice. I'd like to thank Mr. Regis and the entire Infinity team for the hard work and dedication in raising awareness of the iguana. On behalf of the Dennery South Constituency Council, be assured of our continued support and assistance in any way we can in your efforts to increase the awareness and enhancement of Iyanola Crossing. Congratulations again and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Landers. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Aline Regis, who will now deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, Mama Safoy. I let me wish everyone good afternoon and welcome. I know I'm supposed to deliver the vote of thanks, but before I get into that, I couldn't help but the pride that I felt watching everybody looking up to that and everybody that was there. It has been a wonderful journey, and I want to thank each and every one of you, those who are hearing my voice. I have been privileged to work with a group of young persons in Infinity that I cannot regret. There's not one day that goes by have I ever regretted partnering with such a group. Let me first start by thanking the Almighty God for the strength to be able to do this, and all of us in Infinity have some kind of church background, so we always put God first. It is also very, very important for us to recognize the communities and the species that are not here to speak for themselves. A friend of mine once said to me that any conservation work that happens, the species that you're attempting to change or to affect, if it does not feel a change in its life, then it's a project that is doomed. It is a project that has failed. It doesn't matter how many t-shirts you print. It doesn't matter how many songs you sing. If the iguana isn't better off after our projects, we would have failed. So it is important for us to remember that. And as we drive along the highway, we're hoping that persons remember that. Let me say a special thank you to the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund and the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Without them, we wouldn't be here. Let me say special thank you to this wonderful painting, the teachers who are here, to take this on at a time when it was exceedingly difficult, when everybody was caught in COVID. They were able to do this. Special thank you to you. Special thanks to the Forestry Department. Without them, a lot of the things that we had done wouldn't be possible. For example, allowing us to use the mascot and for Iggy to jump around in the schools and all of those sorts of things. It is really important for us to ensure that our friendships remain strong. The St. Lucia National Trust, the Iyanola project. I heard Mr. Bob up here talking about where he has realized that the Iyanola project will be spending some money. We are very grateful, Mr. Bob, for agreeing to come and put some money towards helping us in that field. So as you heard it, it's on tape, Mr. Bob. I want to thank the Dennery South Constituency Council, not just this one, but those before, because this has been something in the making for a while, and they agreed, and they have had the support from the Dennery South Constituency Council. We really want to say, Mr. Landers, please extend our heartfelt thanks to your council. I want to say a special thank you as well to the principals, teachers, and students of the schools that we've had to visit. It has been a wonderful trip. I would imagine that, and every school that we've been to, they've asked us to come back, so I would imagine that they're happy with that. I also want to thank a set of persons that we have not been mentioned here today. We had some Dennery segment artists that were working with another project, with a cultural heritage project that we have been implementing. But one of them especially went to one of the schools with us and was very well received. So I want to say a special thank you to Gaso Boy, who is not here today, but because of him, we were able to really have a fun time at school. So this is ours. You know, we in Dennery, the iguanas are Denrians, right? So we have to ensure that we keep what is ours protected. So we will do all of the things that we need to do. Please, if you see any opportunity for partnership or anything that you believe that we can do to help, do not hesitate. For everyone, I'm referring to the schools, I'm referring to every person in Dennery. I think I get more calls than the Forestry Department about iguanas in Dennery. Everybody that sees an iguana, hey, Uncle Yalin! So I'm grateful for that. That is because persons recognize that we have species that need protecting. So on behalf of Infinity, again, I want to say heartfelt thanks to every single one of you. Mr. Calix, thank you, and Cleo and others for being here with us. We want to thank you for your support. We want to thank the Ministry of Agriculture. Thank you for being represented here. We want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank my members of my band, Stage 8. Incidentally, almost all the members of Infinity are in the band Stage 8. So when you hear Stage 8, you hear Infinity. So we have some refreshments for you. We hope that you will stay around with us for a little while. We know it looks a little dark, but it's only because of the Sahara dust. It's not because it's getting late. So, Miss, you can stay and hang around with the students a little longer. Again, on behalf of Infinity, heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you, and please get home safely. Thank you very much. So like we said, the refreshments over there. There's something that looks like a band in here. You may hear a little noise in a while. So if you do feel like shaking a leg or other parts, please feel free to do so. Okay?